Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Note of Facts. We have Dr. Harvey Clermont on the show tonight again. Very knowledgeable doctor, and he does many good things for the town of Shrewsbury. Some people don't like it, but who cares what they like? I want to say one thing, one little thing. I heard that there was a Special Olympian kid had the honor of visiting the White House. I think that's wonderful. No matter what president it is, just to walk into the White House is good. But I want to express my good feelings towards him, and I hope he had a good time and everything else. Okay, Doc, you're shot now.
Okay. Well, hopefully this is something that will be pertinent to everyone who lives in Shrewsbury. I don't care what your age is. Basically, we're going to talk about all the issues that occur at the end of life. Not necessarily at the end of life, because there are some things that you need to do in preparation for this ahead of time. Remember, being prepared. Be prepared at all times. So we're going to divide things up. The first thing is there are going to be some documents that you need to have done early on. You're fine. You're in good health. Does that mean that you don't need anything? That's not true. First of all, you need a will. You need a will. You don't have to be married to need a will, because you have an estate. An estate is just everything you own. You have something. You have something to give to someone, and you need a will in order to tell people where you want that stuff to go. Remember, all the things that I'm going to talk about basically are things that you yourself want to have done. I don't want someone else, like a lawyer or a judge or somebody else, making that decision for you. You need to make that decision yourself. So you need a will. Within that will, one of the new things is digital asset protection. What the heck does that mean? Everybody's on the internet now. You need a password for this, a password for that, a password for this. A lot of people do their banking online, buy things online. A lot of financial transactions happen online. They all need a password. They all need a username. What happens if you suddenly die? What do you do with all that? Nobody knows your password. Nobody knows your username. What about all that? How are you going to get your money out of that bank that you're putting in your money in when you're doing it online? Well, you need somebody named to take care of your digital assets. That's going to be in your will as well. So you need someone to take care of your estate and your digital assets. That's all in the will. That's one document. I don't care what age you are, you need to have it done. Number two, if your estate is large enough, you should have a revocable living trust. Why? All your big assets, like your real estate, all of the big things need to go into that particular trust that's not necessarily covered in the will. And so the other advantage to a revocable living trust, you have total control. Total control while you're alive. What happens when you get demented? Someone then will be named in that living trust to take over for you. And so the other big advantage is that it avoids probate court. A will doesn't avoid probate court. What happens with your will, that will has to go over to the probate judge, and then time, maybe up to 6 months before they finally say, oh, okay, everything is fine with that will. At least the revocable living trust eliminates that. What else do you need? Incidentally, if you make that revocable living trust into an irrevocable living trust, in other words, you no longer have the control over what's going to happen with that trust. If you have that for at least 5 years, you can avoid the nursing homes, who may have to take care of you later. You can avoid the nursing homes dipping into your estate. Totally avoid it with an irrevocable living trust. I don't have an irrevocable living trust. I want to have full control. But there are some people, it's a good thing for them. Something to think about. What other thing do you need before the end of life? A durable power of attorney. Same deal. You get an auto accident. You pass. What do you do with all your legal stuff? All of the stuff that's financial, etc. You need somebody named who to be your attorney-in-law. In other words, a durable power of attorney to handle your financial issues after you pass. So that should generally be a family member that you trust. Okay. Those 2 documents, possibly 3 documents, you need now. Now what happens when you're finally towards the end of life? Like maybe I am now, you know? I'm almost 80, for God's sakes. What do I need now besides that? Number 1, decisions have to be made about you. Where are you going to live? You can't handle things at home because you can't handle all the activities of daily living. Where are they going to put you? You can't just downsize like a lot of people may just downsize when they get older. Some people may move to independent living, into a senior living area. Some people who can't handle it may need to go into assisted living. You can get the assisted living at a place, at a residence, or you can get it at home, home assisted living. Decision has to be made. I would like to have you, yourself, make those decisions ahead of time and tell the people who are named in the documents, tell them what you would like to have done. Okay. You need a health care proxy. Somebody who can stand up for you when you no longer can make decisions about your health care. That happens when you have a stroke, happens when you have dementia. A lot of reasons why you can't make reasonable decisions later in life. You need somebody you can trust to make them for you. But you gotta let the person know what you would like to do if this happens. And you want them to make sure they will follow your instructions. Okay, that is a healthcare proxy. I have different people for my living trust, different people as a healthcare proxy, different people at each stage of the game, because a lot of my kids, some of them have certain talents. Some of them are better at one thing. I got one son who's very good at finance. He's got my durable power of attorney because he's good at it. So that's what you need to do. Think about who you would like to have for that durable power of attorney, who you would like to have as your health care proxy. Even if you fill these things out, and you can download the forms online. You don't have to have a lawyer do it for you. If you got $1,000 to pay the lawyer, that's fine. You know, they can draw up a heck of a good proxy for you. But you don't have to. That's the point. You don't have to. What else do you need? You need an advanced directive. In Massachusetts, you can't have a living will. But you can decide what you want to do with your body as you're approaching the end of life. What do you want to have done? That's called an advance directive. And so your healthcare proxy usually will be the person that you name as the person who's going to be the trustee of that, but not necessarily. Not necessarily. But usually the healthcare proxy is the person that you choose. And so, an advance directive. And there's loads of different scenarios that happen at your end of life. Maybe you have a dementia and you can't make any decisions. By the time you get to advanced dementia, you could give a crap what's happening anyway, you don't even know. But somebody knows what you wanted done. And that's the important point. Number 2, maybe you just can't do something. Maybe you had a stroke. You can't walk anymore. Do you want to have, if your heart fails or if your heart gives up, do you want to have a tube put into you? Do you want to have them bring you back, beating on your chest? You got to make that decision. Better to do it now that you got full cognitive function. Do it now. Decide what you want. You may change your mind a year from now. Who knows? But you can still do that because it depends on the date that's on the document. Depends on the date. So you need an advanced directive as well towards the end of life. Okay. You also have a couple of forms that are out there, and I need to explain that to you. There's a thing called a MOLST, M-O-L-S-T, a MOLST form. You can identify the MOLST form because it's pink, and it sits right on the top of all your legal documents, the MOLST form. So what's in that MOLST form? Why is that such a big deal? Well, let me tell you. The MOLST form, and I'll read directly from it, actually. Do you want to have CPR done if your heart stops or if you stop breathing? Number 2, do you want to have just comfort measures only? In other words, do you want them to put an IV in, give you all sorts of medications? Well, that's a decision that you should have to make. Number 3, would you want to go on to kidney dialysis? Myself, no, I don't want to. But these are little things, very simple things. Do you want to have nutrition given to you intravenously or through a tube into your stomach? Again, it's difficult to make a decision like that now. But you can change this at any time. There's always a date on the bottom. They take the latest date. That's basically it. It's interesting, too, with this MOLST form. Nowadays, there's a thing called a death cafe. You've heard of a memory cafe, and that's for people who have dementia. But there's also a death cafe, believe it or not. Started in New Zealand, and now it's went into Great Britain. And now it's beginning to show in several areas in our country here too. What do they do at a death cafe? You know, there isn't a big picture of a devil up there. Maybe a Grim Reaper, yeah, but you don't know who's behind that Grim Reaper mask, But a death cafe, you're going to talk about the issues that I just spoke about and discuss them reasonably. Go through the different scenarios that could happen at your end of life.
Wait a minute, Doc. Your microphone is having 3 fits here.
Okay. I just need to get that plugged out. I didn't get it good at the beginning.
Turn it around. Turn it. Okay.
There we go. That a little better?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So the discussion, there's no agenda at these death cafes. No agenda at all. People will sit down at a table, a little refreshment and all. And what pops in mind as far as end of life? There's going to be somebody who will be kind of directing the thing, sort of like Bob directs his stuff here. And there'll be somebody directing it, guiding it, but no agenda. Somebody brings up an issue, they all discuss it. It's similar in a way to the 5 wishes. And I'm sure people have heard about the 5 wishes, may not understand a little bit about how it all came about. Basically, it started with Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa, wonderful person, excellent person. She's the one who proposed the 5 wishes. She had a lawyer. Unfortunately, I guess, but the lawyer took those 5 wishes, brought them to the United States, and now they're making a buck on it. They're selling the goddamn 5 wishes so people can talk about it. Personally, that's capitalism. I understand that. But this is a very personal thing. These are end-of-life issues. Not something that you want to sell, for God's sakes. Mother Teresa said 5 simple things. What do I want to have done at the end of life? How do I want to be treated at the end of life? Very simple things. Simple things. She was a simple person, and she believed a lot in just smiling. Sometimes she never spoke. She just put a hand on people and smiled. They felt better. And they felt better. I get a kick out of what's going on now in the States here. There's a thing called, a lady called Amma, A-M-M-A, Amma. Amma comes around, has a big contingent around her. She comes to Marlboro, actually, too. And they have a big 2-day seminar type of thing where they'll talk about where you're going in life and all. And if you want to make an appointment to see Amma, she'll give you a hug. Amma sticks around to give everybody a hug. She loves to do that. Always smiling, whereas on the periphery are all the people selling all the items. Amma pictures, Amma books, Amma this, Amma that. Money coming in all the time. That's why she goes to Marlboro. It's a good place to earn a few bucks. But I'm getting off the topic now, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of things going on in this country that are a little different than the rest of the world. So, Death Cafe, I like that idea. I like that concept. It gets people talking about death. Death isn't a terrible thing. You know, it's a wonderful thing. You've lived a wonderful life. You want to have at least some say in how they treat you at the end of life. That's all. Okay, enough about that. Let's talk about some of the other things now at the end of life. I talked about things like the independent living, the assisted living. Assisted living varies all over the board. And unfortunately, at the end of life, a lot of people's families are suddenly thrust into this, making a decision, where should this person go? Well, how do you make that decision? Living places are not cheap. They're expensive. And there's a variety of different types of assisted living facilities. Some may specialize in certain things, like some have dementia units. And the ones with dementia units, they treat them very well, actually. Unfortunately, we don't have enough dementia units at this point. But nevertheless, they specialize in certain phases. Say you can't make a meal anymore. Well, you can go to a place where they serve you the 3 meals a day. Simple. What if you can't dress yourself anymore? Well, there are people who will assist you to do that. And you can do it in a facility, or you can do it at home. You can always have home care. The only problem with the home care part, you never know about that person who's coming in to do the care. Are they reputable? Well, the agency said they are. Are they really? A lot of the abuse, elder abuse, comes from people, unfortunately, right in the family, or somebody caring for people, either at home or in that nursing facility. Yes, and the nursing facility too. The people there, they're not vetted very well. They check them out. Well, okay, no police record, that's fine, you know. No. You got to be very careful on where you go. There are some good assisted living facilities out there, but you need to do your homework first before you choose one. Apart from that, you may even choose to go to a daycare, senior daycare, and then take care of them at home at night. I really feel sorry for the caretakers. Caretaking is a very, very difficult thing, very difficult. Usually the people spend hours a day taking care of their elder, usually parents. But nevertheless, the caretakers themselves sometimes just avoid taking care of themselves. They would much rather take care of that patient than go to their appointment themselves. I know. This is what happened to one of my sisters. Never went to take care of her hypertension. Wound up with vascular dementia. And predictably, 4 years after it was diagnosed, she died. She had a heck of a time as a caretaker. Took great care of my mother. Great care. But neglected herself. Now there's more and more social agencies out there to help you. If you need assistance, it seems there's always somebody who is going to set up something to make a buck to help you. You got to know about the organization. Is this a good one or not? Look at the history. Did they just start up a year ago because they want to get on the bandwagon? They've been around for years. Who's leading this thing? Do they have somebody reputable? Look at all the comments when you go over online. Look at the comments that the people make about that particular agency or home. Some of the comments are very revealing. I'd never go there in a million years. They took crappy care of my father, or whatever. Yeah, you got to listen to the people who write those comments. Listen to them, because that's the reality of this thing. So you can go to assisted living, or you could go the next step too. You can go to a nursing home. Now, once you go to a nursing home, you no longer have the independence anymore. The door is locked. You can't get out. You can't make your own decisions anymore. The nursing home controls you now. And again, nursing homes are not cheap. And again, there's some good ones and not so good ones. Who's regulating these things? We don't have enough people to actually come to all the homes and actually tell you all these little things about the nursing home itself. That's why I say, look online at all the comments that the various family members of the patients say on there. That's where you learn whether a place is good or not. So you go to a nursing home, and again, you lost your independence. What after that? Well, as you get really towards the end of life, you can go on to palliative care, or you can go on to hospice care. Let me tell you a little bit about either one. Palliative care is a medical specialty. They take care of you towards the end of life, but they also can take care of you at any point in your life. You can go on to palliative care while you're getting treated for a particular illness. The aim of palliative care is the same aim as the one treating you. They want to get you better. That's their aim. Whereas hospice care, when that first came in, you had to have had, number one, 6 months or less to live. In other words, treatment wasn't working on you. Number two, when you first started out in hospice care, you had to sign a DNA form. Do not resuscitate. DNR, I'm sorry, DNR, not DNA. Nowadays, you don't have to sign that DNR form, nor does your healthcare proxy have to sign that thing at the beginning, like they used to. Hospice care is actually a good thing in concept. In concept. How it's practiced varies depending on where in the country you go. If you're on hospice care at home, you have a little more control. If you're at hospice care in a nursing home, you've given up a lot of that control. And so hospice care will come in. They want to make sure that you are pain-free. They really deal with pain all the time. What do? They give you morphine. That's what they do. This is exactly what happened to my mother. She was in the nursing home. We put her on hospice care because I thought it was a good thing. That's fine. They should have actually improved things because they give you spiritual care. She had a minister come in every week. She had other care, physical therapy, etc. It sounded like a great thing. But the nurse who saw her decided she was in pain because she was grimacing. But she grimaced. She grimaced for the last 6 months of her life. She wasn't in terrible pain. So as soon as she grimaced, oh, she's grimacing. Give her some pain. Give her some morphine. Zonked her out. Little dose. Boom. Out she went. I said, holy cripes. Maybe she's going out on us. And then as soon as the morphine wore off, she was back again. I said, wait a minute. I don't like this at all. I want to control that morphine. I don't want the nurse to control it. We need to be able to give it to her only when she needs it. Now, as a physician, I've seen a lot of the hospice care in the homes, too. I've seen these little kits. Every month, they get a little kit. And what's in that kit? Morphine, something to help you sleep, something to take care of your anxiety. Every month, comes regularly. There's a little dropper there, tells you how much to give them. I don't agree with that. That's very similar to what we're seeing now in our state legislature. They call it dying with death with dignity. It used to be assisted suicide is what it is, and that's what I still call it, assisted suicide, not death with dignity. But at any rate, it's the same thing. Make up a cocktail, give it to them. Wonderful.
Excuse me, Doc, we only got a minute and 50 seconds.
Well,
In this minute and 50 seconds, I want to tell you it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on my show. And I hope the people got as much information as I have through what you said. To me, you're top notch. And some of the people in this town, I'm going to make sure they've listened to you. And I want to thank you for even living in this town. Some towns don't have a guy as knowledgeable as you have been, and have all the experiences you've been through. But again, I want to thank you very, very much, and you're always welcome on this show.
Well,
always.
Hey, thank you very much.
Okay, you're very welcome.
One vet to another.
Right. We got a minute left.
Okay. What can we talk about in a minute? Huh?
A lot of things I can talk about in a minute, but
I don't know if I want to be here for that. No. What do people want at the end of life? Do they want to live longer? No. What they want is independence. They want to be able to be independent. They want to be able to function, and they want to be able to interact with their family or friends. That's all they want. If they give them another 3 months of misery, they don't want that. Independence, function, and love. That's all they want. That's all I want. Probably all you want. I'll leave that. That'll be my last comment.
Okay. But again, you know my phone number, and if there's anything you really fires you up that the public should know, give me a call at any time. We tape twice a month, and the show's on every week, 2 separate shows, and I think we'll hit a home run with that.
Well, great. That's great.
Okay.
Very good.
All right.